Hi, welcome back to Track Day PPF. Today here with a 2013 BRZ. We're going to be doing a light headlight PPF installation and a how-to. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to wash the headlights, and what we're going to do is make sure we want a clean surface so that way we can put the PPF on, and we'll start doing that. Just get a wash mitt, wash it down, get all the way around it. All right. Okay. And get the other side. Make sure you don't have any debris, wax, or anything that might prevent the PPF from sticking. Okay. After this step, we're going to rinse it off, wash it down, and we're going to dry it. Now in the drying phase, we're going to also make sure that we clean all around the edges. So that's where we make sure that the PPF has somewhere to bond to. So we'll be right back. We're going to rinse it off and we'll start back again. All right guys, so we just rinsed it. Now we're going to go ahead and dry it and make sure we want to dry it all the way around and even underneath, because there's some water that might be trapped in between there, so make sure you get all the way around. All right. All right, once we dried it, so we washed it, we rinsed it, we dried it. We're gonna do one more thing before we put the PPF on, and that is we're going to mix a little bit of alcohol and water to make sure we have any last remnants of whatever contamination we have here, we get rid of them. So we're gonna go ahead and mix that up and we'll be right back. Guys, so we're ready to mix the ratios, and I wanted to give you a little insider tip for you to have better possibilities of getting everything done right. So let's go over the ratios. First ratio we're going to talk about is the slip solution. I like to use Johnson & Johnson's baby soap because it doesn't suds up too much. All right guys, I want to show you the slip solution we're going to use, and I'm going to show you exactly how to make it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our Johnson & Johnson's baby soap, and what we're going to do is we're going to use 10 milliliters for 1 gallon. So you want to, in this particular case, I know it's 6 pumps. 6 pumps directly goes into the canister, and then I fill it up with water to 1 gallon. So once we have that slip solution set, then we're going to work on our tack solution. So our tack solution ratio is 700 milliliters of water to 100 milliliters of alcohol, 70%. So that way you can have the right ratio to help you do the installation. So we're going to do that, and then we'll be right back. Another thing I do want to mention, if you have the ability to heat water, so whether you go and get it from the faucet, it's at 112 degrees, usually comes out, or if you can get it from one of those dispensers for hot water, the hotter you can get the water, the better. It actually promotes the adhesive. So what I ended up using is this old coffee percolator. So it heats up the water to about 140 degrees and makes it that much more easier for you to install the PPF and have that application, that adhesive, promote it and get done really, really quick. So we're gonna head and mix our things, and we'll be right back. All right guys, so now we have our PPF. So we went over the tack solution, we went over the slip solution. So now we have our piece that we're ready to work on. So we need to keep in mind that there's 3 layers of this PPF. The first layer is called the cap, and that's just to protect the PPF while in shipping or transit, so that way it doesn't get too damaged. So we need to take that layer off before we start to work. So as the PPF pieces get larger, they tend to attract more static, or they have more static, which attracts more hair, fine particles. So what I like to do is I like to just give it a quick dousing of water to kind of get rid of that static. So just quick dousing, that's all it needs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working my way here and getting the top layer off. So as you see, the top layer comes off fairly easy. All right, this is no bueno, this is trash. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other headlight. Actually, we can get rid of this.
And what solutions are we spraying?
So this is the slip solution that we're actually spraying on there. So we don't even want to use the tack solution until we're ready to actually put it on the vehicle. And the tack solution should only go on the surfaces that might be difficult to attach it to. So the tack solution is really more like an adhesion promotion solution. So you don't want to use it everywhere. You want to use it on the areas that are difficult for the PPF to adhere to. Usually like around bends or compound curves or edges. That's where we really want to use it. So now we got all the cap off, and as you can see, we have just an outline of our headlights. So as I'm going to start to pull away the PPF, I again want to make sure that I'm wetting the back of it, because right now it is super tacky, and it's two things are possible. One, if it folds on it to itself, it becomes very difficult to separate. And two, we don't want any floating debris and hair or whatever to get caught back there, because it also makes it difficult. And sometimes as you're putting it on, you don't see it until once it's all dried, and it's too late to lift it back up and take the hair off. So what we want to try to do is make sure to wet it now to get rid of all that potential issues that'll happen. So we're going to go ahead and wet this down as we so I'll make sure put it down here. Okay, and that's about as far as I want to take it. Now it's all wet. So now we're going to go back to the vehicle, and we're going to make sure that our vehicle is prepped and ready to receive it. So we have to wet both surfaces. We already wet the back of this one. Now we need to go and address the headlight, to wet the headlight to receive it, so that way we can make any adjustments and it doesn't automatically stick to the headlight. So we're gonna go back over there, and then we're gonna make sure we apply the slip solution to that. 2, 1. All right, now we're gonna wet the headlight and make sure we get a nice smooth coverage all the way around. And we're going to go ahead and get our PPF piece and install it. All right, guys, one quick thing I wanted to go over is the squeegee choice, right? Here I have a couple examples of the squeegees that are available to you. In my opinion, the best squeegee to use is one, it doesn't have to be this color, but you want something that's semi-soft but also hard enough so you can put a lot of pressure on the PPF as you're squeegeeing it, right? This type of squeegee is not good, because if you look at the thickness of this squeegee, it's very, very thin and has a narrow edge, and as you push it, it becomes very sharp, right? So you want kind of like a more rounded edge, but you want it still sharp enough so when you're squeegeeing, we're squeezing all that water out. And then we have like a hybrid in between, is something like this, which is it's still soft. It's softer, softer than this green one, but not as harder than this pink one. And this one you can also comes with a material that you can put it over here to help you squeegee out. But to be honest with you, I prefer these. These are really cheap on Amazon, and you can get them in a whole pack in different varieties, at different sizes, so what you're doing. So we're gonna head and start working with these now. All right, guys, so we're gonna start by soaking the headlight, and we're gonna go back and get our PPF piece and making sure we wet the front and the back of that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. And guys, we got our piece that's wet. We're gonna start putting it on. Okay. And the most difficult part about this installation is the more compound curves you have on whatever you're trying to cover, whether it's the bumper, the hood, or the headlights, the more likely you're going to have this type of issue happening, which is called like fingers, right? So you want to try to place this PPF in a way that to me, this is the most visible side. So we want to concentrate on putting this, lining up this edge here as best we can, and then we're going to anchor it down. All right, guys, here I got the PPF and I'm going to install it. Remember, I wet the back of the PPF and I also wet the headlight. So the last thing I want to make sure is I want to wet the top side, and I also want to make sure you get a decent amount of water on both the front and the back again. Water, 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 water. Slip solution, slip solution, slip solution. We want to make sure we got plenty of slip solution so that way we can make micro adjustments as we start to put it on. Right? So you see how it didn't stick to itself? And now what I want to do is I want to start to place it here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my tools, the squeegee, and we're going to start doing that in a little bit. But first thing I want to do is I want to put the PPF on the headlight and try to make some micro alignments to see where I want to start. Once I have the alignment, then I want to start anchoring one side. Once I anchor one side, then I'm going to work my way towards the middle. So since this side is the more visible side, I want to start here to make sure that I get my alignment down right here. And then as I work my way, I'm going to finish up this side, and then I'm going to pull and stretch the PPF towards the inside here. And if I do make a mistake, I'd rather make it be, if it's going to be a little short or not, I'd rather be able to hide it up in here and then have this edge looking nice and tight. So we'll go ahead and get our tools to start working. Okay, so we have our PPF here. We're starting to align it. And what I'm trying to do is align the bottom side to make sure that this line, the PPF, is in line with where we want our coverage, right? And then we're gonna start, after we get this lined up here, then we can pull it up towards that way, right? So let's get this going like this, line this up, and then we're gonna start pulling either way. So we start here, pull up that way, and then see where we're at. Anchor here. I'm gonna use a little bit of this tack solution here. All right. Get this tack solution here. Get the bottom. Okay, we got, I think that's where we want it. And we're gonna work our way back this way here. Pull a little bit. Let's go. A bit more. Okay. Okay. So now we got here. Okay. Start to anchor it. So you see what I mean? This hopefully now is already anchored. So we want to push fairly hard to make sure we're getting all the water out, right? So hopefully now that's tacked, and we'll see, yep. And so now you can start to begin to pull and stretch. So we want to stretch it here, right? Once you got a good stretch here, then you want to begin to tack these other spots here, right? So pulling it here, and then we're going to get this out of the way here. So we're going to get some more solution here. Here. And remember, slip solution is really important to continue to have the squeegee go and glide over the PPF, right? So then we're gonna lift up just a little bit and then work our way down here like this, right? We're gonna work our way out and down. out and down. All right, just like that. All right, so I think we got this anchored down pretty good. All right, and now we got this crease here. So we're gonna go ahead and lift here, and you see how that removes that crease here. And we're gonna make sure we constantly have, we got the sun coming down. So I wanna make sure that this doesn't dry up on us. So you wanna use plenty of slip solution while we're tacking this down. So you see, I want to try to pull at the same time I'm going to tack. Excuse me, go ahead, pull it that way. There we go, there we go, perfect. Okay, and guys, like I said earlier, the most difficult and challenging part is going to be right around these little compound curves. So we have it going this way and then we have it going down. So this, when you touch it, it's going to feel really slippery and not tacky yet. So we're going to go ahead and just don't worry too much about that. What you want to try to do is just get it, make sure that you can slide it on, but it may continue to keep popping up. So you just go ahead and leave that for now, and we're going to continue working this way. All right, you can let it go. Okay, so things are looking good. All right, we're going to put a little bit more. Now we're going to work more tack solution here, right in the middle here. All right, guys, so now we're working on these little corner. Remember, we're trying to start on one end and then finish the other. So we can see it's still not tacky. So sometimes what you need to do is two things. Either you can put some more tack, or you can try to put some heat on it to help evaporate the water to make it more sticky. Or you could just leave it alone for a little bit of time, go work on another piece, and then come back to this in a few minutes, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes. What happens is, as you're squeeging this out, the water's pushing out, but then there's some water that's at the lip, and since gravity's pushing it back down, it tends to want to go back in there, and that's why sometimes this can be a little bit difficult. But what you want to do is you want to make sure, go all the way around, and you see how some of the spots we have a little bit of water, so we want to make sure that we're not leaving any water spots behind, trapped in there. So we want to make sure we're going all the way around and getting all the water and air out of there before the PPF really sets up, and then you won't be able to take it out. All right, so we're gonna come back to this in a little bit. In the meantime, same thing with this. So this is becoming better. Like you can see it's starting to become a little bit more sticky. All right, so you just want to hold it there for a second and see if it tacks. There you go. Just hold it down there for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Just hold it there for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So just keep an eye on it. If you might need to come back, it might want to still pull up, just like this time. So we got it back up here. Just hold it down. There you go. Okay. Well, you see here, it came back, it lifted back up. So just keep an eye on it. Just hold it down there. Push all the water out. Just hold it for a second. All right. And sometimes what might help is if you grab a microfiber. Now, it's really important if you're going to use microfiber to make sure it doesn't have any lint coming off. So we don't want any lint to get trapped there. So what you want to do is just grab your microfiber and you want to push all the water out. As the water comes out of the PPF, it'll get absorbed in the microfiber, and usually will help with the promotion of the adhesion, so it won't get wicked back up in there, right? So that's what we want to try to work on. As you can see, it's not difficult, but it's not super easy either. It's just, I think it just requires some patience, but I think most people can do this. You just need to be patient, have a little bit of knowledge of trying to figure out, get a good game plan, And listen, I'm messed up with hand, and if I can do it, you guys can do it too. It just takes a little bit of patience, and just try to get a good starting place where you can have a good foundation, get all the right materials, get all the right products, and then just go for them, and then just be patient. So far, like this one, probably taking us, I've worked on it maybe 15 or 20 minutes so far. Same thing with the other one, the other side. If you want to show them the other side, I think it should be almost done. So I don't see any parts that are lifting anywhere. So we got good coverage all the way around. We don't have any water trapped in there. We do have a couple of micro bubbles, but those are not the end of the world. They will go away with this over time. Just leave the car in the sun, and then the sun will eventually evaporate this. And maybe the next day, just come back and maybe press a little pressure on here, and it'll get rid of it. If you have big bubbles, maybe like the size of a dime, what you want to do is you want to buy those needles for diabetics. They have a real thin needle. Poke it in there, pull all the air out, and then with your finger come behind and close it down, so the adhesion will stick. You want to try to do that usually in the first day or so when it's still tacky. If you wait too long, then the film, the adhesion dries up and it won't be sticky anymore, and there won't be any fix after that. So we'll go ahead and keep an eye on this. But this is self-healing, so if you put it out in the sun or warm water, it'll heal itself, and those things should go away over time.